And third, don't regret overflowing points. Be grateful for them. This is very important, everyone. Why? Because you're now in adolescence. You're not just 4 years old anymore. That means you're starting to have overflow. For example, in our team, as I move towards Sharon Rose Master, what happens? My sales reach the Sharon Rose Master level, even if my official rank is still Diamond Master. So what does that mean? There are a lot of overflows, right? You start to see sales masters, semi-sales masters, and even diamond master autos appearing. So things will get increasingly lively, right? And what happens then is you get overflow. The days when you could match exactly 300,000 points to 300,000 points are over. You have overflow, I'm telling you. But since I haven't experienced it myself, what happens? It feels like such a waste. It drives you crazy. Especially if it goes way over, it's fine. But when you see 300,000 to 400,000, like 400,000 points pop up, that's when it really drives you crazy. Because it's not like it just shoots up all at once. If it keeps shooting up, you think, oh, it'll go up like this tomorrow too. And that's fine. But then tomorrow it doesn't go up like that. You really get this crazy feeling. You have to suppress it like this. You have to hold it down, everyone. That's what this is, everyone. This is your growth period, everyone. You're just starting to grow, right? You've reached this stage now. Some of you are experiencing this right now, aren't you? You saw the notice I posted recently, right? That's why I posted it a second time as a warning, because there will be even more of these things happening in the future. This time I reported it to the Imperial Master. Why? Because after I gave one warning, it kept happening. Then people start thinking, oh, this is fine. So what happens then? Just like a serial thief, a lot of people will start doing the same thing. Imagine if I let someone become an Imperial Master. What do you think would happen? It would be total chaos. That's why you have to stop it right at the beginning. The reason is even the Imperial Master has had similar experiences before. So you heard about how things got complicated and people were expelled. Then I think since I heard about that experience, I might end up going through the same process. What should I do about this? Now you start to worry about it. So I also thought, what would be a wise way to handle this? I decided I should nip it in the bud right away in the group chat. Since I'm now on my way to becoming an Auto Sharon Master, these kinds of people are just starting to appear. If you catch it early on, those kinds of feelings won't even develop. You know what I mean, right? When I first started managing New Zealand, what did I do? At first, everyone kept changing the dates. I taught them never to change it. I told them to go above and beyond. I made it clear that it's always better to exceed, whether it's 10,000 points or 20,000 points, and that you can't sponsor otherwise. When I was that direct from the very beginning, what happened? Even if it overflows, we just let it go. That's why it's so important to set things straight from the very beginning. So this time, when I reported it to the Imperial Master, a report was filed. But since it was a voluntary report, I was able to resolve it quickly, and we decided to let it go. That's why I'm telling you all this now. You should know that the fact things are overflowing means your business is doing really well right now. You understand, right? Why is this a good thing for you all? It means your partners have increased. It means you're now on your way to becoming an Opera Diamond Master. Even if your current rank is Sales Master, right? You get what I mean, right? So you should be grateful. Why? Because you didn't put in all the points yourself. Everyone. You need to accept that. If I sponsor directly, I can communicate everything. Oh, boss, I'm planning to place this order on the 1st. Would it be possible for you on the 2nd tomorrow? Oh, that's fine. But what happens when the partners below you who generate automatic sales without any communication from me start making automatic sales? It overflows, right? You must never touch that. You understand what I mean, right? People who used to match 300,000 points to 300,000 points are now matching 400,000 to 400,000, 500,000 to 500,000, and 600,000 to 600,000. The numbers keep increasing. But there are no sudden jumps, everyone. Because there are no sudden jumps. If we want our daily earnings to reach 700,000 points to 700,000 points, there has to be a process in between from 300,000. When you hit 600,000 points to 600,000 points, that's double the sales. That's when things get the craziest, really crazy. Why? Because it's right in front of you, but you have to let it go. But if I try to sponsor points, the money basically doubles. So if I have a bit of extra, it's fine. But when things are tight, sometimes it's even hard to invest that money. For example, when you're holding on firmly to one side, you know what I mean, right? So depending on the situation, sometimes you just have to let it go when things are tough. But honestly, I really understand how hard that feels. It really feels like such a waste. I seriously want to change this. You can literally see it right in front of your eyes. But I keep hypnotizing myself. Since the partner below here is someone I know, just listen to what this person has to say. When I listened to the person below, I wondered, why did this get lost? It just feels like such a waste. Suddenly, I start self-hypnotizing myself. Originally, I was trying to match it for myself, but then I start hypnotizing myself. I think if I do it this way with this person, it would be more helpful for both of us. And then I change it. It's good for both of us. That's the right way to do it. But the people below don't know that. The people working below right now don't sponsor, so they have no idea. It's like a frog in a well. They only know what they're doing in their own little world. That's why incidents happen. In the superstructure, there are partners working hard even further down. And for the people I personally sponsor, there are no problems. Whether they're business owners, part-timers, full-timers, or loyal customers, I know them all. But when it comes to automatic sales where I don't sponsor directly, I only know one or two people. You can't just look at those people. You have no idea about the people even further below. That's why you should never touch it. It'll collapse. Do you understand what I mean? That's why, since I received complaints, I posted a notice. You get what I'm saying, right? So then, how exactly can you effectively change the current date and time? Who should you change it with? For example, allow me to illustrate this concept and paint you a more detailed picture. Let's say you want to run your business a bit more wisely, a bit more efficiently. Let's suppose this is indeed my current situation. Let's say this is my situation. I used to balance left and right, but at some point, my sponsor started working as a team with me, and one side grew a lot. So now that side has a lot of volume, and I can focus more on just the left side, both in terms of sales and everything else. But the biggest dilemma and source of conflict here is that if the sponsor suddenly takes over and the balance shifts dramatically, I always end up with a surplus on one side. But when the volumes are kind of similar, like you saw my sales yesterday, on one day, the left side had 1.5 million points and the right side had 900,000. And the next day, the right side had 1.5 million and the left had 900,000. It keeps going back and forth like that day by day. Why does that happen? It's because my left and right sales are similar. If someone just took over one side and it grew a lot, there wouldn't be a problem. But since I'm managing both sides myself, what happens? I think, oh, this side is going to get bigger, so I support that side and I keep trying to balance them like this. So because the volumes are always similar, I keep ending up with this imbalance. So what happens then? I have to grow one side by more than 3 times on one side. That's why I'm pushing even harder to grow the left side by more than 3 times. And then the people above me, since they're also capable, will probably try to keep up in a similar way. So now, when the numbers on the left and right are similar, what happens? You have to change the date on the side where you have to burn the small performance so that the automatic sales appear on one side. But people do it the other way around. When they set it to match the side they're supposed to burn, the side they don't support ends up getting the sales, which is frustrating. Can you change that or not? Absolutely not. For the sides you don't support, you must never touch it, no matter what. Which side should you touch? You should only change the date on the side where you communicate directly and personally support. Why? Because you know everyone under that person. So if you see that the date has awkwardly passed, you can ask the partners you're helping, "Excuse me, boss, I'm sorry, but could we change this date to the next day?" You can do that, right? And since those two people are receiving support, what will happen? Will they say, "Oh, why are you changing it?" They'll say, "Oh, yes, boss, it's fine." Of course they'll say it's fine. Do you get what I mean? Change the date for the side you're supporting. But if you change the date for the side you can't support, what happens if they find out later? What kind of problem could arise? Problems will definitely occur. When your organization grows, first you might think, now that I've come this far, I want to challenge for a rank. I think it's time to go for it. But on your right side, usually in Atomy, most people who generate points are just ordering products because they need them. Or are there more sales from people who want to succeed in Atomy? Of course, it's the people who want to succeed, right? Usually most of the sales come from business members. That's why in Atomy, if your line is still short and that one person disappears, your semi-sales master or auto sales master status can vanish in an instant. That's how important that one person is. So it means your line is still short. Even though it looks like there are a lot of people, in the end, it's not really a lot because all those people came from the influence of just one leader. It's small. So when I go for a promotion, I end up changing the date for that person who was on the side that didn't help, the one who just automatically ranked up. That person is actually the one in the video and I have to go with them. But even though I didn't help, I kept changing the date and causing them trouble. So what do you think that person would feel? Would they go for the promotion? Are they crazy? If they say they're going, they'll avoid that date and not go. Seriously, this is what conflict looks like in Atomy. If everyone here gets along well and wisely, there's no problem at all. But as soon as greed starts, that's when business issues begin. Later, as my organization grows bigger, there will come a day when you'll regret it deeply. That's why, in Atomy, the saying about always being sincere means just that. Even if you sacrifice a lot now to do well later, you'll be rewarded even more greatly for it. Do you know why I'm being so greatly rewarded now? Because I went through so much hardship. My legs were torn, I was battered, and I bled. Because I bled, I gained those rewards and experiences. No one left, the original members stayed, everyone worked hard, even those who gave me a hard time at first wandered off, but eventually settled back in, and as new members kept joining, it all turned into money. If 10 people joined, but then 10 people quit, then what does that make me? I'm just back where I started. You need to understand that. You get what I mean, right? And also, you end up never being able to move up in rank. Second, people start leaving the organization. For example, there was a case, not in my own downline, but elsewhere, where someone had just reached 300,000 points, and their sponsor, trying to adjust the dates to match their own 700,000 points, just changed their own points without thinking. They thought they had matched it, but when they checked, it turned out to be 300,000 versus 400,000 points. Wouldn't you be upset? The sponsor changed the points of someone who had just started with 300,000, and when that person found out, of course they were upset. That's how people end up leaving the organization. Some people even quit because of things like this. You know, I meet all kinds of people in this business, and I've seen that these little things driven by people's greed to get just a bit more end up causing problems like this. What happens when people leave the organization? Everything you work so hard for just collapses. So what does Imperlin say about this? So how do you come to realize this? These days we live in an information age. In the past, when people didn't know anything, they would just think, oh, well, I guess this is just how life is. But now, with just a little bit of searching, you start to wonder, wait, what am I actually doing? Isn't my sponsor kind of suspicious? You realize it pretty quickly. You can get information right away since there's YouTube and tons of resources on Instagram. These days, even business owners have gotten smarter. So if you're a sponsor, you really need to do well. Otherwise, you'll see a lot of people leaving your organization. The higher you climb, if your actions are driven by your own greed first, then you'll end up with no one around you and only people leaving. Do you understand what I mean? There's conflict on the small leg just as there is. And there's conflict on the big leg just as there is. There are cases like that. So there's only one reason why communication works with people. It's because I'm sponsoring them. So of course I communicate with everyone. But as you go along, even your partners have left and right sides, right? But even if someone has a strong sense of self, there are people whose circumstances are tough, struggling just to get by. It's not only the wealthy. Maybe I've hit rock bottom, urgently needing to make a living. Then I must use my Atomy income for living expenses. In that case, can I really give strong support to my partners under me in Atomy or not? You can't, right? In that case, your partners might understand, but whether you're someone with a bit of experience or, like in our case, the partner actually started the business first, so they became the foundation for the team's growth. So now, here, the partner was working really hard, and because they became the foundation, both sides of the team took off. But this person still provides support. Since it was early on, they tried to match their own pace, but because this person was so capable, they started building their own team. The person above just felt jealous. This person was succeeding on both sides and basically getting everything handed to them, yet they kept saying they wanted to quit all the time. But what about me? For me, it's better to have something than nothing. So I have to do everything in order. I have to resolve all the conflicts so that there won't be any conflicts. But do you know what kind of conflict there was between the sponsor above and this partner? Now everyone, pay close attention to see whose side is right. The partner below is someone who maintains their status as a semi-sales, while the sponsor above is an overflowing sales master. So everyone, pay attention to whose side it is. From the partner's perspective, they're thinking, oh, Sharon Rosemaster, if you're going to help anyway, you only need to help me, and that's it. But you make such a big deal out of it. Just help me, that's all I need. So what if I have 200,000 points? I could match it perfectly, and since my sales are high, I could get it just right. But then they complain to me saying, why aren't you matching it for me? So what do I say? Oh, boss, it's tough up there too. I'm working hard to help you. You're doing great. And I move on. But then when that person gets another order, what happens? They probably matched it left and right. After matching it, the sponsor above says, oh, Sharalu, I set all the points, set it to 30, and it was ready to go, but you matched it here, so I had to move it, and now it flew up to 400,000. I helped, and it just flew away. Whose side is right, everyone? Both the top and the bottom are right. From the other person's perspective, both sides make sense. So what should I say? It's a good thing to have abundance. Since you supported them, that person is also trying to keep up. So it's a good thing. You can just grow it even more, really expand it. And since you supported them, you can communicate, right? You can just communicate. But why do you think I can't do it? Everyone, each person has their own capacity. For example, supporting someone is the right thing to do. But if I think, wow, that person's abilities are amazing, that's why they're so great. With just this much, they don't even see it as real support. What are they thinking? You just went along with it. If you're going to help, then help properly. That's what it is. So even though I helped in this kind of relationship, it could end up with me getting slapped in the face for helping, which is why I cut it off. With each person individually. This is something that you, the mid-level leaders among you, really need to handle well. You really have to do a good job with this. Do you understand what I mean? That's why Atomy is so complicated in this area. Oh, I helped them. Oh, since we're coordinating with each other, it should be fine if I say something too, right? That's just your own thinking. But that person keeps having complaints. Why? If you're going to help, you should help properly. That's what it is. That person's mindset is, man, if I just set 300,000 here, I could hit exactly 30. But now my sales are high because I'm a veteran. There's a certain way of operating, you know. They've worked with me for a long time. So since they can easily hit 300,000 points, they'll do it. But what happens if they can't? They get dissatisfied. So if that person doesn't have the capability, you shouldn't assign it to them. That's why you have to handle these things really well. So as a leader, the person who solves problems well so that no one leaves and everyone can stay together wisely will receive the greatest rewards. Our Atomy chairman described this in Korean as, he calls it gulgap. You know what I mean, right? Gulgap. He says that gulgap is the commission. You know, Atomy is actually very simple in theory, but you have to understand people's psychology. You need to know their environment, their culture, and even down to their spoon and chopsticks. Just because you supported someone, you might think, since I helped, if I say this, of course they'll take it positively. But that's just your own thinking. So the reason this is difficult is because you can't judge things by your own standards. I keep talking about being a super dream because, you know, when someone truly respects their sponsor, their actions and attitude are already different. They don't ignore you. They don't just respond with, oh, okay, sure, right? Did you come? They don't greet you like that. Did you arrive? Yes. Oh, really? This is just total disregard, total disrespect. So then what happens? Do you think even though I helped, that person reacts like that? I'm not going to help anymore. Is that what you should do? No, that's not it. You should serve them. I should support them even more. They still see me as a sponge. So what should you do in this situation? You should serve, quickly find your place, and humble yourself. You shouldn't feel bad about it, but realize, oh, I'm still seen as a sponge. They still see me as a sponge. They don't see me as a sponsor. You should serve like this, but what happens if you keep going? You start to feel upset. I want to abandon them. I don't need them. I can just find someone else. But if you find someone else, it just takes more time. You can work with this person and also find others. You know what I mean? That's really important. Everyone. So Atomy, to keep realizing these things, if you keep at it consistently, as your organization grows and develops, you'll naturally go through that process. But right now, because you only know your current situation, you end up having inner conflict. It's the same for me. I want to become an imperial master, but I haven't experienced that world yet. I mean, I don't really know what that world is like. I'm just speaking from my current standpoint. Even at my level now, I feel moved and grateful. So what do you think will happen if I become an imperial master? I would probably be grateful for everything. Wow, so this is how it turns out. Wow, this is truly amazing. Words like that just come out naturally. So in Atomy, we just hold on to gratitude, super dreams, and just keep going. I don't know, I just say, thank you, sponsor. Thank you, partner. I'll work even harder. That's the best I can do when I feel like I can't do anything. And you know, I told you to hide your claws. When your pride is really hurt, I'm the same way. I've had a lot of moments where my pride was wounded. But I think amateurs are the ones who wear all their feelings on their faces. They show all their emotions, express everything, and just break everything down. Maybe it feels refreshing, but what happens then? There's no one left around me. But do you see truly amazing people? They just brush it off with a smile. Oh, sure, sure, yes, yes, yes. And they hide their claws. And then when they've really grabbed the handle of the knife, that's when they let go. That's what's scary, everyone. They accept everything with a smile and let you get away with so much. So now that I've become a bit more mature, there's no one left. This isn't what family is about. Even if you say this is like a family business or that it's not a real philosophy, but more of a childish one, the difference is that this is still business. With family, even if my own kid acts out, even so, sometimes I want to give them a good scolding. Sometimes I even want to abandon them. And sometimes I wish they weren't my child. But still, you can't deny your own blood. They're still my child after all. You carry that burden with you. But with others, you can just let them go. That's what's scary. That's what's truly frightening. Why? Now that I've finally matured, they don't come. By the time I want to do something, it's already too late. That's why we always have to do our best. You understand, right?